In this last episode on Ekalavya, we will try to understand how Ekalavya lived and what he did. His post-Drona episode in the Mahabharata, Adi Parva, 131st chapter. We have that episode of Dronacharya asking the right thumb. The shlokas are very clear. There was no anger, jealousy, hatred, and it was just a guru asking a disciple for Guru Dakshina, and the disciple gave the Guru Dakshina. And it's also, remember, in the Adi Parvam, Hamshavatara Parva, the Upaparva, 67 and 67th chapter, 63rd shloka, it's very clear that Ekalavya was born as a Krodhamsha Rakshasa. Krodha Vasha Rakshasamsha it is. Anger and a demonic character. And in that lineage, Ekalavya was born. And from that particular dimension, we should go further in understanding Ekalavya. And there were other group of demons and Rakshasas. The Paundraka Vasudeva, Jarasandha, Shishupala, Dantavaktra, Salva. These are all the Asuri Gunasampatti. They are all anti-socials. They are all the people who are adharmic, krura, anyaya, illegal. And they exploited the social status. They exploited the society in those times. They did all types of evil things, evil doings, killing, murdering, torturing, looting, cheating. They all did all that. And Jarasandha was the center of all these people. Ekalavya joined this particular brand. Ekalavya was part of this group. Ekalavya joined this band of the Rakshasa Gana because he was born with that particular quality. And he was the commander-in-chief, one of the commander-in-chiefs of Jarasandha after his father Hiranyadhanva passed away. Ekalavya became the king of Nishada Raja's Nishada kingdom. So Nishadas were ruled by Ekalavya. He was a king. And he was the commander-in-chief of the Jarasandha. So wherever Jarasandha used to go and fight, do the wars, Ekalavya was part of those warfares. And he fought for them. He fought for Jarasandha. You should remember, with 4 fingers. And Ekalavya was also a master of the sword fighting, Khadga Yuddha. He was also a master in the Gada Yuddha, a war with mace, war with Khadga. Is it not surprising? Is it not astonishing? Is it not wonderful? How with 4 fingers of the right hand, Ekalavya mastered archery, sword fighting and mace fighting. The techniques were given by Dronacharya. But Ekalavya, because of his inborn qualities, inborn constituent qualities, his own dominant and predominant character, he became a part of the demonic powers in the society, anti-social powers in the society. He became part of that. He used to be part of all these people. Jarasandha, Shishupala, Dantavaktra, Poundraka, Vinda, Anuvinda, Kalanemi, Kamsa, Shalva, and all this. They are all a big group. And Ekalavya is one of them. And we should remember, all these people, they were all killed by Sri Krishna. It is surprising. Means Ekalavya was killed by Krishna. There is a reason for that. Jarasandha, with his army and commander-in-chiefs, used to attack on Dwaraka because Jarasandha's daughters are the wives of Kamsa. And so Kamsa was killed by Krishna, so Jarasandha was angry on Krishna and the Dwaraka and the Yadavas. So whenever Krishna was not available in Dwaraka, choosing that particular time, Jarasandha with army attacks Dwaraka. But Dwaraka was indomitable, very powerful and strong. Balarama, Satyaki and Yadava, Narayana Sena was there. He could never overcome and defeat Dwaraka. And we should remember, 18 times, Jarasandha attacked Dwaraka. And all the 18 times, he could not win Dwaraka. And we should remember, many times Krishna allows Jarasandha to run away, defeats them, but does not kill him. There is secret behind it. He defeats him, but doesn't kill him. So many times in that Jarasandha's defeated wars on Dwaraka, Ekalavya was part of it. And we also should remember, in the Rajasuya Yaga, in the Sabha Parvam, when Krishna was given the highest, topmost post and worshipped by Yudhishthira in front of all the kings of this Bharatavarsha, Shishupala, who became angry, unable to digest the highest honor to be given to Krishna, he abuses Krishna. In his abuses, addressing Yudhishthira, Dharmaraja, Shishupala says that in this assembly of kings, there are kings and great warriors and archers. He gives a list. In that he says, there is the king Ekalavya also. So Ekalavya attended Rajasuya Yajna along with hundreds of the kings. And he also offered the best of the golden shoes to Yudhishthira as a gift of the Nishadas. And all those who offered gifts to Yudhishthira were all won over by the Yudhishthira and the Pandavas. They are all the Samantas, because they were defeated or they have accepted the highest king, Chakravartitvam of the Yudhishthira. That's how they all came to Rajasuya Yajnam. Ekalavya was part of that. But he continued to attack the Dwaraka later on. And many times when he attacked it, Krishna was there, sometimes Krishna was not there. And when Krishna, when he was there, he did not kill, he allowed them to go. Why this Krishna allowed them, the entire army of Jarasandha, we will know later by Krishna himself. In the Drona Parva, 132nd chapter of the Drona Parva, after the Ghatotkacha was killed, Krishna tells to Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, there are many of the demons and the Rakshasas, anti-social elements, who are adharmik, anyaya, evil behavior. They break the dharma of the society, and all such people have been dispatched and killed by me, Krishna tells. And in that Ekalavya was also there. And how Ekalavya was killed? So once when Krishna was not there, Jarasandha's army, led by Ekadavya, attacked Dwaraka. And Balarama and Satyaki fought with Ekalavya. And that description comes in the Harivamsham. And in that beautiful description, a detailed description between the war between Balarama, Satyaki and Ekalavya is to be read. How Ekalavya fought the war with Balarama himself and the Satyaki. Intense fight it was. And Ekalavya uses all his knowledge, all his prowess. But of course, he could not win over the Balarama and Satyaki's combined force. And finally, he ran out. He leaves the warfare, hides himself outside the Dwaraka in an island. When Krishna returns, Balarama tells him, this is what happened. And then Krishna invites Ekalavya and kills him. This is what happened. And while explaining this particular events to Arjuna in the Mahabharata's Dronaparva, he tells, Krishna tells, it is I, we should remember it is I, means Krishna, facilitated. Drona to ask the right thumb of the Ekalavya. Krishna tells, it is me, I, who saw that Drona asking Ekalavya to give his thumb, and it is he or I who facilitated, orchestrated that the right thumb of Ekalavya is removed. So it is a divine plan. Daiva Leela it is. For the Dharma Samsthapanam, for the righteousness to be established, for the goodness to be proved. Things happened. We should not read things we should not read and we should not come to conclusions with bits. Entire thing should be put in order. Then we will come to an understanding the entire purpose of the Mahabharata and all the events which were taking place. And this is how it was a Krishna Leela, it was a Vaishnava Leela, it is a Narayana Leela, it is a Daiva Leela, which made Drona to ask the right thumb of the Ekalavya. And Ekalavya later on became part of the Rakshasagana, the demonic forces in the society and the nature, became a destroyer of goodness, supporter of worst and the bad qualities in the society. He stood and fought for the bad elements in the society. He supported and fought for the evil events in the society, evil forces in the society, anti-social forces in the society. And that is how Ekalavya's story completes. It was Krishna who killed him. And 18th time Krishna killed him. And we should remember, Ekalavya was related to Krishna. Shishupala related to Krishna. Ghatotkacha related to Krishna. Dantavaktra, all these people. And by clearly understanding the life, the behavior, and the purpose, and the incidents and the events which have a long link in the entire Mahabharata, and the episodes from the Sri Harivamsam, we should estimate, measure, and understand the character of Ekalavya. Without that, we will be wrongly interpreting Ekalavya's character, wrongly understanding his character, wrongly presenting in the society as a victim of caste, as a victim of Brahmanism, which are all wrong narratives. With this hope, we read Mahabharata in detail and understand properly, correctly, and come to conclusions and avoid misrepresenting and misinterpreting the great epic, the great Itihasa written by Maharshi Vedavyasa. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.